Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and this is the best YouTube channel on TV. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Pete, the Patriot. Thank you. I caught you. Ah,
You damn
no,
right.
pay no attention in front of the closet. He was working on the baby bottle again. Booyah! There we go. Hello, everybody. Outstanding show, Pete. I mean to tell you, because boy, we're gonna rehash some of that stuff, brother. Oh boy, you got me a bowling, and I already knew the stuff. So
Yeah.
Just take a minute. I want to wave a hand. Boy, we got a whole house over here already. We got Margot. She's always first in line, except I think Christy beat you this time.
I love
Margot. Battery Dixon, how you doing?
Margot is always first in line when
she's right there.
Always. We love Margot.
Oh yeah. Yep, she does a great job. Eric Chenault, C, good to see you. Grateful Grammy, 12B Georgia. Welcome. Sergeant Bob, thank you for that lemon yesterday or day before. I forgot to say that on the air there. Susie by the sea, how you doing? Welcome.
Susie. I did see
the bee lady. Right on. Let's see. We got Propus in here. Donnie Newman, welcome. Gary Holland, good to see you guys. Northern Tiger, drop it like it's Scott. Yeah, well, I think the patent on that wore out, so I'm good. Who else we?
Hey, I didn't hit that.
You already conservative. FB. No, that one was my my wife going out to walk my son's dog. Angel Lawrence, Kelly 22. All right, I think I've gotten everybody to Great Informer. Steak 59. They just keep coming. Welcome, everybody. Right. All right, now, Pete, I got a few things to talk about today, and believe it or not, there's actually a couple of things that don't have to do with the sniffles, but there are a few things that still do. But I think I want to go ahead and start where you were in your show, because I got to get a few little things in there. Dianne Feinstein well, this is the adult portion of the channel. There's a bitch. Oh, a woman that's just flat out nasty. Okay. Then there's a biatch. Okay, he's bracing himself. All right, so what she is what I would like to call a kinka mea biatch. That woman has had her hand in corruption since the day she started, and it just keeps getting worse. This idea, I didn't sell my stocks. My husband sold his stocks because I went home and told him about a classified meeting that I had with my colleagues and told him, we need to sell your stocks. That is illegal. I have had a security clearance. I have not even been relieved of my security clearance. The damn thing is still active because of some of the stuff that I did. I can't have pillow talk with my wife about the stuff I did. It is classified. So she didn't just do insider trading. She broke the frickin' law. She gave her husband classified information. Am I missing something, Pete? I mean, I know you had almost an hour of trying to explain it, but damn.
That's not a hard concept to follow. It's just not a hard concept to follow. It's not treason. It's not anything that has to do with being executed. They broke the law. And in a situation where in a national emergency, for those people to do that, there should be immediate consequences that the American people should see immediately.
Right.
To know that they're not being effed over by our government in a time of crisis. But anyway, go ahead, please.
Well, what I've got here is we have her, but I'm going to work my way down. Senator Kelly Loeffler reported the first sale of stock jointly owned by her and her husband on January 24th. The Senate Health Committee hosted a private all senators briefing from the administration officials, including the CDC director and Anthony Fauci, the head of the National Institute of Health of the United States, on the coronavirus. The first transaction was the sale of stock in the company Residio Technologies, worth between $50,000 and $100,000. The company's stock price has fallen by more than half since then. The Dow Jones Industrial Average overall has shed approximately 10,000 points. That is an astonishing amount of trillions that have left the economy.
Yeah.
All right. The Senator Jim Inhofe, a Republican of Oklahoma. What is this other one? She is, it doesn't say. I bet you they're going to leave that out if she's a Democrat.
Which one? She's a Republican.
Kelly Loeffler. Is she a Democrat or Republican?
She's a Republican.
Well, here's my thing. You remember, this is one of the things I keep harping on this. They both scoop the crap from the same toilet. They just use different spoons. The two-party system is nothing but a ruse on the American people. And it keeps getting proven all the time. But the second one here is Senator Jim Inhofe, I guess, Republican, Oklahoma, sold up to $400,000 in stock on January 27th in companies such as PayPal, Apple, and real estate companies Brookfield Associate Management. Finally, Senator Dianne Feinstein, Democrat, California, and her husband, and they got to throw and her husband. It doesn't matter. That's one entity. Sold between $1.5 million and $6 million in stock in California biotech company Allogene Therapeutics between January 31st and February 18th, the New York Times reported. So this is wrong in a lot of different ways, and it proves again that they don't give two craps about the American people. They just don't. They're in it for themselves. They use the insider trading to take care of things. But here's one of these questions I have. If you want to become an elected official in the House, the Senate, anywhere, you have to devolve yourself from liabilities and responsibilities of individual corporations or business entities. You have to hand them off to family members, and you cannot partake in the management of those companies any further. Public service has expired. Why have we created a loophole, so to speak, so that they can continue to buy and sell stocks when technically they are the masters of that corporation, because they have more information more immediately than anybody that's probably even the day traders on the floor of the stock exchange? Why are they allowed to continue to trade stocks as a public servant? Answer that, Pete. I mean, answer it wholly and truthfully for me.
Wholly and truthfully is because they put provisions into law saying that just because I am a public servant doesn't mean I don't have a life outside of public service. So I should be allowed to trade stocks on the stock market if I want to. So they wrote a law and put that law into place. That law doesn't say that they cannot use information that they acquire on the outside into their private life. But the SEC trading laws says it is. So that's where their laws apply. They took information which was considered inside information, and they told their spouses, their friends, their family, their this, their that, and the other thing, to buy or to sell this stock on classified information. These four people were in a classified setting, knowing what was going to happen to this country in the coming weeks, use that information to sell their stock. that is considered inside information. And according to the SEC, that is a felony. You cannot use information to sell or buy or sell stocks. Think again. Think of Martha Stewart. You can't do it. You get caught, you go to jail. These people got caught. They got caught.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Martha Stewart. We can't quite get her into that same category because Martha Stewart. Okay, go ahead.
Just 1 second. The B lady said,
hi, Huey Cobra.
Are we in martial law due to this War Act thing? I just want to say that the War Act thing that you're talking about.
I'm going to explain some of that.
Okay, we'll let him explain it, but no. Go ahead. I just didn't want anybody to think
no,
that.
we're not.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Thank you, Propus. We're going to get to that a little bit further in the show, but definitely we're going to go over that, some of those things. Sergeant Bob, thank you for that lemon again. Honey Cobra, Huey Cobra. I keep calling you Honey Cobra. That is not a sweet plane. It's a badass plane. Anyway, rotary aircraft. Excuse me. Huey Cobra sent me a lemon. Appreciate that. All right. Let me just make an address real quick. Yesterday, you did something phenomenal for me. You told everybody about my viewing hours that I was ticking down and only needed a few. I wanted to give an update on that. According to my analytics, I'm at 4,026 hours, but then I go down to my monetization section and they only have me down at 936 or 3,936. But in my analytics, it shows 4,026. So every page of my YouTube, every page on my YouTube has a different number. But it is working, and I appreciate everybody's effort to help try to push me over because I'm not the kind of person that likes to ask for donations. It's just never been in my blood. I always like to do it myself. But if I can get monetized, it will help to take the edge off because this is not free. No. I do spend a decent amount of my money to keep this going and to bring it to you. But when I can get monetized, it will help take that edge off and it will make life a little bit easier. But anyway, so let's continue. All right. I want to get off that subject because, it does. It really annoys the crap out of me. All right. This one I wanted to bring up because I want to bow to this young lady. I want to, we're not allowed to have contact or I'd give her a big bear hug, but this is a reporter from OAN. And if you listen to yesterday's briefing from the president and the CDC and all that, this woman, I mean, it was like high five, booyah, kind of shit. But anyway, Washington Post journal unhappy with Trump saying media siding with China gets introduced to some inconvenient truths. This girl's name is, I think, what is her name? Nick. Oh, okay. As my Red State colleague Nick Arama wrote Thursday, OAN reporter Chanel Ryan, that's her name, created quite a stir in elite media circles yesterday during the White House Corona Task Force daily press briefing by asking the president this question about some in the mainstream media who echo the talking points of Chinese government. Love this girl. She rocks the joint. Ryan said, left-wing media, thought you might, left-wing media has teamed up with the Chinese communists to raise objection to Trump's use of the term Chinese virus. Does it alarm you? Ryan asked the president. Yeah. And she continues, I squeaked a little. I think they do. They are siding with China. They are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. This is a response by president. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. They are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're siding with many others. China's the least of it, Trump said during a White House briefing on coronavirus response, questioning on One American News. So why are they doing this? You'll have to ask them, he added. if we had an honest media in this country, our country would be an even greater place.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't started following her, please do. Give this girl some credit where the credit is due. Her name is Chanel Ryan. She's a hell of a reporter, and she's got stones. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. What do you think of that there, Pete?
Is she wrong? What's happening right now,
no,
like
she's
I
not
said,
wrong.
with China, Russia, and Iran putting a disinformation campaign on the American people is almost as effective as launching missiles over here. You're causing a panic, and she was completely right to ask that question.
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous. And all these mainstream media shills
and this is the panic
in there and ask the president all these stupid questions because they, like the president said this morning, sensationalism is wrong and they should be called out for it.
Right. Yeah, he got on him again today, and they tried to use Pompeo to go after the president today too, and he's kind of shut that down.
That didn't work, did it?
Respect for that. Yeah, backfired. But anyway, I know I said I was done with the insider trading, but I wanted to just make one more point on that. I remembered I had it pulled up here as a reminder. I think that as time progresses, you're going to find out that members of the elite media that have been pushing this propaganda to cause this panic are also going to be found to have dumped significant amount of stock, because the communication line between the Democrats and their elite media is direct. So you guys need to follow the money. You need to watch and see who dumped stock, like media personalities, senators, congressmen, who did it. And when they find out who did it, there needs to be a significant punishment. But what was her name you said a minute ago? The cooking lady. What's her name?
The bee lady. But the bee lady just made another.
I'm talking about.
Hold on, she just made another
Martha
comment.
Stewart.
Martha Stewart. But she made this comment.
She did not get busted for insider trading.
No. Hold on 1 second. I just want to address this really quick, if you don't mind, and then you can get right back to that. The bee lady said, disabled vets perspective. Pete, didn't Obama put an executive order for the media that Trump can use to shut them up a lot? No, the executive order that Obama put in was for the media to use propaganda tactics, not to shut them up, but to unleash them.
That's right. Well, there's two. There are two. You are right on the. He made it an executive order to legalize propaganda.
Yes,
but the executive order. I just think it's like 1392 or something like that. And I may be way off. I'm using a memory bank, but
I don't remember
that executive order, which is still active. Yeah, the president can take complete and total control of all media and infrastructure and private and public possessions. That executive order does exist. So he could literally shut the media off and take over. And I'll put a bug in your ear just because I got a heads up about it, that there is a possibility, although minor, that we may end up having a period of darkness where the only thing functioning is the emergency broadcast system. Start looking for strange and unusual activities to happen between the 1st of April and the 10th of April. And already setting up the chatter. They're talking about how the bandwidth is being stretched because there are so many people on the net. They're taking Netflix and telling them to cut back their streaming quality so that it doesn't put a strain on the internet. So the chatter is in there. They're talking about it. So if this happens on the 1st of April, where you lose your internet, you lose your satellite, you lose all this stuff, the excuse will be that, Well, it's because there's an overload on the system from so many people being at home and not being away from their computers all the time and stuff. So just kind of keep an ear out for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Angel Lawrence heard that too. Yeah. So I'm just keeping my ear to the track and listening for the freight train.
Now,
All right.
we just got a
Now
whole bunch
let's
of, we
go
just
into
got,
another subject. What's up?
I was saying we just got a whole bunch of free movie channels. DirecTV gave Showtime and HBO is now free. So even more bandwidth is going to be used. People staying home watching movies on cable. It's going to put a stress on the system, and this is what the result is, which is exactly what you said. So I would be looking out for that.
Yeah, B lady, you're right. It is happening now. The bandwidth is being stretched and all that other. So they're just going to use that as their reason. So just keep an eye out on it. What is the name of this female reporter you mentioned? Let me get back over here to her. We got to open it up. All right, so I'm opening that story back up so I can get you that name. Her name is. I just had it. See, I had to back up. I think I already put it away. Oh no, there it is. Okay, Chanel Ryan, Rion, CHANELRION, Chanel Ryan. Okay, now remember how I mentioned several times now that the government never does large amounts, because if they did, then the best way I can describe this is the government takes tiny little bites of you, so you never really know you're being consumed. They just nip and nip and nip and nip. Pretty soon you're gone. You are absolutely eaten alive, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's what happens. Increments. And Como is a prime example of increments. My state, what was it, yesterday or day before? Como says, I will not be closing down New York, because if I did, then the people would just leave New York and go to Aunt Jammy Mammy's house or something like that. And now it's today, at the briefing before the president's briefing, I am going to be closing New York to all non-essential employees. So increments. Pretty soon we will be locked down like sardines in an aluminum can, and everybody will go, well, wait a minute, how'd that happen? Just like everything else. How'd that happen? We've been watching. They didn't do that tiny little increment.
That's my
but what about California? I mean, same thing with turtle eating the lettuce.
When you got a turtle and you put a head of lettuce, and you watch that little mouth just chomp, chomp, and then you go inside the house, and 10 minutes later you come back and all you got is little remnants on you. Go, what the hell happened to the lettuce? Because that little sucker just chomped and chomped and chomped until everything was gone, just like they're doing with your freedoms.
Little bitty bites.
Little bitty bites, one bite at a time.
Yeah. So, what's going on in California right now?
Well, yesterday they had their press conference, and pretty much because the numbers of infections are doubling or more every day here, they've decided to follow suit with San Francisco County and put the rest of the state, which is mostly Los Angeles County, and specifically the city of Long Beach and Pasadena, to put us on a virtual lockdown. That's all I can. I mean, they said anything that's non-essential. And they have a whole list of things that are non-essential. You know, like plumbers, electricians, things that, you know, if something breaks in your house, you can call these people up. Food stores and things like that can stay open. But everything else, they want everybody else to stay home, shelter in place, and only go out if you have to. Get your exercise, keep your social distancing, so on and so forth. But that's pretty much what's going on here in California. I'm expecting it to get worse in the next few days. I honestly am, because there's a lot of other things that are happening.
That's
here.
what I was going to ask. What do you think is the next?
Well, they're starting to.
What do you think will be the next step?
The next step, as far as the government goes, is they're going to put everybody on a total lockdown, because people here don't care. They don't care, and I'm just saying that because you can see it on the news. There's still people going out and doing the things that they do normally every day. They don't care. The American people are not used to this. They're not used to having restrictions put on their lives. So they don't care.
Right. Tigger just asked, are they forcing it? Are they forcing it, or is this just a suggestion? Because many states and cities are acting like it's the law when it's really not. It's a good question.
Well, they're trying to project that.
How do they scare people into staying inside?
They're trying to project that by saying things like, we may implement a fine. We may have to do this. We may have to do this. And then from there, it's just a big game of telephone. I heard him say this, and then that person says, I heard him say this, and I heard him say this. And by the time it gets to the other person, we're in martial law. We all need to put our weapons on the lawn and all our food supplies so they can come and take it. We really have to listen.
Yeah, this is interesting. Here.
I just caught the title in my
news. He says, I just caught a title in my news feed that said more National Guard being called up. There's got to be a lot more going on than just the sniffles. I totally, completely agree. There is more going on. I haven't put my finger on it yet. I mean, you can read the cue boards and you can follow that narrative. What's up?
San Francisco. 5 days ago, San Francisco went on a total lockdown. Right? We all heard that.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
The first pictures coming out of San Francisco, where they said, we are deploying National Guard to distribute food to people who are in need, and we're gonna do this. The National Guard shows up in San Francisco
with a lemon.
Okay, the National Guard shows up in green camo with no protective equipment. As big as day on the news.
Right.
As big as day. Handing out bags of food to people, smiling and waving. Hi, here's your food. Now you tell me there's not something basically wrong with that?
Virus that's scaring them much.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to say. So the Great Informer, like I told you in my chat, brother, 140%. There is something askew here. Askew. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I can think of a few people that need, or is that skewed? I'm not sure, whichever. Are you living alone, and where are you in New York City? I don't live in New York. I'm in the panhandle of Florida, and no, I'm not alone. Let's see, Alex and Pete, they shut down restaurants except for drive-thrus, so truckers can't get meals because they won't serve them without a car in the drive-thru. Well, okay, some places in Florida you can absolutely walk through a drive-thru. I've done it a few times.
I have too.
I've had my car kept in a shop, and I didn't get it in time, and the restaurant closed, and I ended up walking through a drive-through. So sometimes you just have to do it. If you need to stand there and go vroom vroom, whatever, tell them, yeah, it's a very small car, great gas mileage.
Yeah.
But they're going to work with people on some of this stuff. They have to. You don't want the people pissed, and the more you squeeze the soap, the more likely it's going to fire out of your hands because you've squeezed too hard. So yeah, there's gonna be allowances for stuff. Um, I rode a horse through one in high school. They do that here in the Panhandle sometimes. I've seen that more than a few times. Yeah, out here in the country, it's a little bit of a different world. I've seen them go through there in their four wheelers, and I've seen one guy go through there in a golf cart, and another one go through in a go kart. I mean, there's some leniency, but anyway, they're going to have some allowances for people. Conservative Patriot, how you doing? All right. I'm not sure what you were talking about with Jeff, but yeah, Florida is getting very close at this point to a total lockdown. We're getting our increments, daily announcements of a little pinch more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the end game is to lock this country down and do some massive military operation. My feeling,
and it may be
based on all
it may be within the 15 days. It may be within the 15 days that the president is talking about.
Right. Well, what is the today is what, the 20th, and they're talking about the 1st of April through the 10th of April. And one thing to think about is 10th of April, if you do gematria, if you study the correlation between numbers and letters, 10 4 10 20 is DJT. So Donald J. Trump is on that day when he says that that's the last, or when it is said to be the last day of darkness. So again, you look at the cue boards, you listen to what's going on, you listen to other YouTubers, pay attention to people from their own areas. Mm-hmm. You can put a bigger picture together.
The B lady asked about the 15 days. The president and the CDC and Mike Pence and all these people who are giving these press conferences every day have put out this 15-day plan to where you can shelter in place to slow the spread of what's happening in the United States. 15 days. So if you keep your distance from people for 15 days and shelter down, you'll be okay. It's not saying that something's going to happen in 15 days. They're just giving a 15-day period. So that's that.
Okay. I want to make another transition here. They mentioned that Florida's doing their increments, but we are slowly having our beaches closed. I mean, we're going to close the beaches, and then it was go to the beach but stay away from each other, and then now it's closing beaches one after the other. Really stupid. Yep. We got an awful lot of beach. I can stay the hell away from a lot of people at a beach. But again, I think it's to get everybody home, get everybody pacified, and then do whatever operation they've been preparing for while everybody's at home safe. Because the best thing they're doing right now is they're taking away soft targets. If you were the deep state and you wanted to make an impression, especially when the walls are closing in on you, you would want to target your favorite places, which are schools and crowds, neither of which are going to have any success at this point. So again, everything looks like they're getting ready for a massive operation. But let's go on to executive orders, because I want to take a few minutes and explain what's going on with executive orders. One of them that has been done is allocating health and medical resources in response to the spread of COVID. That is the first executive order. It's 50 USC 4501, and it's called the Act. And Section 301 of Title III United States Code, it is hereby ordered as follows. March 13th, 2020, I declare a national emergency recognizing the threat that is the novel coronavirus known as SARS-CoV-2. It's got so many different names, nobody knows what the hell we're chasing.
Yeah, that's right.
To our national security in recognition of the public health risk, and noted that on March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization announced that the outbreak of COVID-19, again, two different names, same document, the disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 can be characterized as a pandemic. I also noted that while the federal government, along with state and local government, have taken preventative and proactive measures to slow the spread of the virus and to treat those affected to the spread of COVID-19 within our nation's communities, threatens to strain our nation's healthcare system. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. That's the first executive order that was signed in correlation with what's going on now. Do you have anything to add to that one, Pete, before I go to the next one?
No. That's pretty much
stands out, whatever.
That pretty much explains everything.
Okay. Well, the other one here. Okay. Trump signs a coronavirus aid package, invokes Defense Production Act to fight COVID-19. Now, there's two in here. Mm-hmm. The package, the budget, is one that he signed. That was put together by the House and the Senate. They tried to stuff it full of pork, but Senator Gomer, or Representative Gomer, the former judge, told them that he refuses to sign anything without reading it, and said that it will not go further without him getting a chance to read it. So God bless him for that. Right. What he did was he forced them to take all that fluff out. He made them take all that out so it could be, somebody could sit down and read it, because you can't read a 3,000 page document in less than 20 hours. So all the money that was put in there for Planned Parenthood or planned destruction of life, whatever they call themselves now, all that had to be jerked out of there, and a bunch of other stuff. So we got down to the bare bones. Anyway, so I gotta zoom this in. You would think with glasses I'd be able to see, but no. All right, you got it. Before I go on to the big doozy, what do you, any thoughts about the name? I know there's a lot of places we can go with the budget, but what do you think initially?
Well, the Democrats are having problems because some of the provisions that they're putting into these bills that are passing are for businesses, to prop up businesses. And
there's to it, B.
Huh?
Right.
You're gonna get to that?
I'm just telling B. I'll get to what she's talking about, the War Powers Act. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I don't know if anybody's explained to the Democrat Party that if you don't prop up businesses like they did in 2008 so freely with our money, by the way, the difference that they're talking about is in 2008, the banks created a crisis, and then they used our tax money to bail out the banks.
Got bailed out.
Okay, in this situation, this is
like
not
airlines. You mean?
Yeah, this is not the airline's fault. This is not the cruise ship's fault. This is not the small business selling beer on the in their little business's fault. And the Democrats are fighting these bills that the Republican Senate is putting up, saying it's not doing enough for the American people, but they're bailing out businesses. And I think the problem is the ass and elbow syndrome. They're trying to put their pork in these bills.
Right. They don't know which one's which.
Yeah, they don't know which one's which. And that's just it's just a huge issue for me that these people are still in charge. I just don't understand it. But right. Go ahead.
Well, here's my beef. My beef about the finance package. A group like the airlines, they airline companies have always been teetering. That's just the way they're designed. They come and they go, they bankrupt, they buy out, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
when they've had their prosperity, they go and they spend billions of their own dollars to buy back their stock in order to raise the stock price, and then they divvy all that out to their executives.
Yeah.
Well, they've done that, and now all of a sudden they're in trouble. And instead of giving up those bonuses or selling back that stock, they want the taxpayer to pay them to bail them out. I have a real problem with that. If you can
Well, the
afford to
president
buy
said
back
that.
your stock, then you can afford to put that stock back out for liquidity.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about what already happened. They're
Yeah.
getting
What already?
bailed out, but they put
Yeah.
themselves in this position. Yeah. So, yeah, no more buybacks at this point, according to the president, but that doesn't cover the fact that the airlines created their own disaster by what they did in the last few years. I think they should, whatever they get as a recovery, I think they should deduct the amount that they bonused their executives, and they should also deduct the amount that they used in buyback for their shares. And if they want the total amount invested, then they need to put more shares back on the market for liquidity and basically help to recover themselves a little bit.
That would be a feasible thing to do. And I think the president was actually talking about suspending bonuses for executives and suspending stock buybacks if there are any bailouts that go to these huge companies like the airline companies and the cruise ship industry and things like that. Because what happened with the tax plan that they put in, most of those companies said, yes, if you give us this big tax break, we're going to put that money right back into the economy. And a lot of people did that. A lot of companies did that. They gave their employees either stocks or cash payments, or they built new factories, or they did this, that, and the other thing. But there were some companies that bought back their own stocks to pay back their own investors. And the president did acknowledge that. And he said he was going to put a restriction.
There is a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. He was going to put a restriction on it. If there is a bailout for these companies, there will be restrictions on it. So that's what I heard.
Jason Schmidt. Jason Schmidt just said that Trump hasn't even suspended shorting the market. There's a little game going on with the market right now, and with the Fed, and with the IRS. There's a sincere possibility of a thing called a reset, but I really need to do a video separate from this one about the potential for a reset and what's going on with the Fed and the markets and the IRS and all that. But I will tell you that the IRS, President Trump said that he wanted to delay the deadline of taxes, and
Till July.
he put in a request, and basically the IRS says, kiss my ass. So that was left, and then all of a sudden today it's announced that it's going to July. So what I'm thinking he did, you have to understand that the Federal Reserve is illegal. It is nothing more than a light switch. If we get tired of them, you turn them off, and we're done. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So my guess is that when the IRS told the president, hell no, I think he went and had a little chat with them and talked a little bit, maybe about a light switch. So he's not ready yet to take out the Fed. So he still has to play their stupid games. But I think that he had a chat with them, and all of a sudden they just said, oh, yeah, sure, Mr. President, that's a good idea. We'll do it. We'll go ahead and extend that. So watch for this stuff. Anyway, I'll do a video about it. I promise. I'll get it out there. But, all right. So, what's her name? Beekeeper, I think is her name, or the bee lady. Okay. She asked about the War Powers Act. If you remember, when we retaliated against Iran, the House of Representatives kind of had a hissy fit, and they started screaming that the president can't do this without their permission. Well, up until that time, the War Powers Act has been fairly liberal, and the president has had an enormous amount of power to act in the safety of the country. Well, they have put some restraint on that. So he doesn't have free reign in foreign countries. But under the War Powers Act, he has a lot of power within this country. So help me out, Pete. What you thinking? Because I see your head's just about to fall off your shoulders over there. What you got?
Jason Schmidt, and I'm sure he was commenting on what you were saying previous to that statement. He said that Congress authorized the Federal Reserve, and Congress can take out the Federal Reserve.
And I lost him for a second. All right, we're back.
Yeah. I'll tell you his comment. He said Congress authorized the Federal Reserve, and Congress can take out the Federal Reserve. Do you got me?
No,
you don't hear me.
Yeah, they didn't authorize it. It's been. I hear you.
Okay. See, that's just that's.
Anyway, we're bandwidth.
Yeah, that's just not a true statement. The Federal Reserve was never authorized or ratified by Congress. It is an illegal entity in this country.
It was ratified by only 3 states. And it takes 34 states to ratify an amendment to the Constitution.
Thank you.
It was also passed by a skeleton crew in the legislature because they passed it. I think it was 4-0 when everybody was in bed. So it was literally jammed through. And there were 4 people on the Titanic that were on their way to this country to talk the president out of allowing the Federal Reserve to exist. And we'll be getting into fact, fiction, and beyond issues if I start talking about the purposeful sinking of the Titanic and stuff like that. So just understand that it is illegal. It has been illegal since its inception, and all you have to do is turn it off.
Yep. And our economy,
enemies and traitors in Congress and the IRS and the Federal Reserve aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, but it's going to happen sooner than later, I think.
All
Jacob Astor was one of them. Yeah, I know.
All things are pointing to that. But go ahead.
The thing is, here's the deal: you can't shut off the Fed today because too many people in America would go, "Oh my God, that's the act of a dictator." What you have to do is you have to make the Federal Reserve fail. Look at what's happening. Dollar is increasing value on other currencies. We are the Federal Reserve liquidated $500 billion into an overseas bank to prop it up. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get their money out into foreign banks so that when the reset happens and when the Federal Reserve is eliminated, they can take that money they sent overseas that's already been changed into foreign currency, and they can buy back U.S. Treasury notes and equal money. So they're even preparing for the fact that they're not going to exist much longer. You got to look at the signs. It's there. But again, we're straying away, but I want to get back onto the executive orders because the president signed an executive order called the Defense Production Act. And if you look this thing up, excuse me, it is it gives the president of the United States an astonishing amount of power to basically take over control of manufacturing and procuring assets and materials for that manufacturing. When he signed this thing, he made it a point to say, I will not use it unless it's absolutely necessary. If you listen to the Democrats, they're trying to push to get him to enact this thing 100% because they feel like they're going to be able to ride it on their coattails. What they don't understand is it gives the president sweeping power, but it doesn't increase the power to the individual states and the governors and the elected officials. It just about removes their power. So if he does enact that thing, it's going to be a doozy. But on that note, he enacted a tiny little part of it. He is
Yep.
now going to have other manufacturing companies developing respirators and masks and PPE for emergency medical teams, personal protective equipment. So
Right.
he has enacted a tiny little piece of it. But at this point, he's not saying, I'm taking over General Motors. We're going to be building respirators. He's talking to the CEOs, and General Motors has agreed that to help the president, they will start manufacturing these respirators. So he's not using the power that he is capable of using. He's still going to the CEOs and asking them, please do this for us. If they would say no, then it is possible that he would say, okay, not acceptable. We're going to do this. And so he has the power, but he has not used it.
That is correct.
Puerto Rico going to begin making pharmaceuticals. The V lady just said Puerto Rico is going to start making pharmaceuticals. That's good. We're going to start separating from China. Yeah,
China,
that's the thing, Pete. What do you see? Yeah, but do you see this as a positive thing pertaining to the sniffles?
Yes. Yes. I do. And the reason why that I do is because what's happening right now in real time, not in it may happen next week or may happen tomorrow, is what you're seeing the effects of previous administrations in this country selling this country out to foreign powers. And what you're seeing now with the shortages of personal protective equipment, masks, hand sanitizer, things that come over from China that we depend on from China, respirators, things, not respirators, medications, so on and so forth. You're watching it happen in real time. Everything that the president of the United States has said is going to happen if we ever got into a state of emergency. China knew they had us by the balls, and they're actually using it right now. This will be an advantage to us as the American people to bring our manufacturing of vital supplies back to this country and tell China to go F themselves. If we cut China off, they will collapse. They will collapse. We are their biggest buyers, and we're the only ones who are keeping them afloat. And they know that.
Right.
So this underlying for our country is a good thing.
Right. But the fact that they've threatened to not send us the base materials that we need to manufacture the like penicillin and stuff like that, could that not be considered an act of war because you're potentially threatening the lives of American people?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what
absolutely. And the biggest misconception that people have is that China has a 100 million standing man army. The North Koreans have a 1 million man standing army, or the Germans, or whatever. Men don't matter. Men don't matter. Wars are not going to be fought in the conventional way anymore. So these propaganda
scared based on economy conflict.
Thank you very much. What you're in right now is in a war. What the president said is absolutely correct. We are on a war footing because we are being attacked not only from within by our own political system, we're being attacked by our enemies, the Chinese, the Russian, the Iranians. They're attacking us right now. There's no coincidence why the president keeps saying war.
Yeah, India, Huey Cobra. Right. Huey Cobra says, Brother Alex, I heard India is making 25% of our medicine too. That's true. Absolutely. And right now there's talks with India to increase that production. Yep. But here's the snafu. They still have to get the core base material, the chemicals that are produced in China. They have to be shipped to them in order to produce the medication. So we're still in the same dilemma, but
Yes.
with this executive order, the president can allocate funding, materials, supplies, personnel. He can do whatever he has to do to build and activate a manufacturing facility at record pace. And we could start producing our own stuff in very short order. So
And it's
you can
happening as we
expect,
speak.
going back to increments, right? But like I said, going back to increments, the government does things in increments. So this increment is he technically used that order to talk to some people about building these respirators. The second increment is going to be that he is going to use government funding to buy properties and then restructure those properties for the purpose of production. And then he will start allocating funds and personnel and start moving them into these places to start manufacturing. Once they get the companies up and going, the government can't technically own anything. They can lease, but under this act that he signed, they can really put all of that off too. So at the end of the ordeal, when this thing is done, my guess is that there will be a government auction that they would liquidate these corporations, these manufacturing facilities in a government auction and get them back into the private sector after they've been up and running and used for the government's needs. So just some of the things that I see as a possibility. India has a long history with us, but I understand why you feel that way, B lady. I guess I missed that about what the lady said about India.
The person who is in charge of India right now, Modi, is completely 100% on the Trump train. He is in line with Donald Trump. He's actually modeling his government along with our government. India is now truly our ally. And it hasn't been in the past. They've been little staunch allies here and there. But you still have a hardline faction in India that doesn't like this government and never will. And Modi is taking care of that if you follow any kind of foreign policies or foreign affairs that are going on. This whole situation right here is going to crush China. It's going to crush them. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're going to lose our pharmaceutical business. They're going to lose our PPE business. And eventually they're going to lose all of our technology business. And it's not going to be pretty for the billion people living over there. It is just not going to be pretty. That's a prediction that I'm making because it's happening right this minute.
Thank you for that ice cream, Melody.
I said this years ago.
Yeah, Jeff B. FEMA also took over Orange County Convention Center in Orlando. Yeah. Could you describe what this act of war, for example? I know globalists can attack us philosophically. The act of war is when you threaten. What we are doing is economy conflict. When you are trying desperately to crash another nation's economy, that inadvertently threatens the lives of that nation's people. If you are producing life-saving material for another country and you tell them we are not going to send you that life-saving material, you are saying that we are willing to let your people die. So World War II, for example, everybody thinks we went into World War II because Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. No, we let Japan attack Pearl Harbor so we could get the American people on the side of the government so they could go to war. We went to war, and Japan brought us into that war because we cut off Japan's oil supply. So we forced them into war because without the oil in the oil age, the manufacturing age of our history, you cut off their blood supply and you potentially can kill off their people. So they were forced to attack us, and we gave them a nice little enticing piece of bait to do so. So a lot of things that people aren't aware of that are happening, but these wars of economies are the new age.
Yep.
All right. Where am I now? Okay. One of the last things I wanted to bring up was if you guys do follow Q and you follow the list of indictments, things that are coming along with that, there is a few people that on the YouTube that will put up a map showing the numbers of indictments for each state. And I found something very interesting today. They use the same color coding for indictment that they're also using for COVID-19. And I found a COVID-19 map to show infected areas, and it was basically done in hues of red. Well, I found the indictment map, put them over the top of each other. The colors all match up. So again, going back to I think there's something more going on. Just saying. But anyway, with that being said, boy, this has been a heated show, Pete.
Hold on.
You got anything you want to finish up with on the way out the dough?
Yes. Tree climbing said both Germany and Japan had no oil. That is not correct, sir or ma'am, whoever you are. I don't know who you are, and I hope I don't offend you. But Germany was running their tanks on synthetic diesel. Synthetic diesel. They had no shortage of oil. They had a shortage of rubber, but not a shortage of oil. Synthetic. Just remember that.
Yeah, but Ford stepped in and took care of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the B lady. We're both on D Live, actually.
The B lady just donated to me on
she donated a diamond to you over
put
on
your link in there, Pete, if you can.
I don't know how to do that.
Wow, she just dropped a diamond on me. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. You just copy it up at the top of your page. Go to your page.
I'm not an administrator on your thing. I'm not an administrator on your page,
no,
so I have no.
Your link. Your link.
Yeah, but I can't put it anywhere.
You can put your link in the chat.
No, I can't type in the chat.
Oh, what the hell do you mean you're not an administrator on my? What?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, come now. This is no. Come on.
So if there's a moderator in here like Jeff.
All right. Well, we're not going anywhere just yet.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna fix that stuff right now because I thought sure as snot that I had you as a mod on here. We're gonna get that fixed before we even go off the air. So just bear with us here for a second. I'm just opening it up and we're gonna get that fixed. Look at that. I hit the like button. Cut the volume. Now type something to me, Pete, so I can grab your name real quick.
I'll do something
in with some chat. Pleasantries in it, like you're an ass.
It'll have to go.
No, I need you to do it in the regular chat.
I can't do it in the regular chat. I don't have a place to type in the regular chat.
You can't. Oh crap! You have to do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll take care of that later on.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's weird the way it's.
Yeah, well, that was ridiculous. I thought I made you a moderator a long time ago. But all right.
There's actually a movie.
Well, with that being said, you got.
Yeah, there's actually a movie that I'm going to get you guys the title of. It's from back in the 60s with Marlon Brando about the synthetic oil from World War II. I just got to remember the name of it, and I will get that for sure. It is an excellent movie. I got it over here somewhere, and I will get that to you. But yeah, we need to make Jeff Brandau a moderator.
All right, Will. I thought he was too. Damn it. All right. Well, let me see here. Get over here. I just the problem is I don't look at my YouTube very much because I end up using D Live. So I guess I assumed, and you know what assume means is to make an ass out of you and me, but that's beside the point.
All the time, especially to me.
Right. All right. With that being said, my moderators and my new moderators, and Pete, you will be a moderator. This is ridiculous. I thank you guys very much for helping out. Everybody on D Live for the ice cream and the diamond and then the lemons. I appreciate you guys. You guys rocked the joint. If somebody jumped over on Facebook, looks like it stopped playing, or it's playing, but it stopped moving. Anyway, thanks for joining me over there. Pete, as always, sir, thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable. And everybody else who hung out with us for this last hour and 3 minutes or so, or 7 minutes, thank you very much.
Yep.
You got anything you want to say on the way out, real quick?
Yes. The bee lady found it. The movie's name is The Formula. That's exactly right. It's The Formula. It's a great movie. Everybody should watch that one. That's all I got.
Thank you for the lemon, Sergeant Bob. All right, you guys.
We're on RRC tonight.
Excellent.
Right?
Oh, yes, we will be on with RRC tonight. It's 7 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pete's time.
5
so it's all over the map. 8 o'clock Eastern. Come see us. RRC, the R-rated conservative channel.
Yes. All right. That's
okay. Y'all stay in the fight.